who it is or who it isn't. Oh, come on, baby. There's got to be a better way. Now, when we come full circle, the majority of the masses get involved, and this becomes a serious case. And as this becomes a serious case of blown out projections and attitudes and what have you, we have no connectivity to the rest of the world. Oh, they're gonna hate this video and they're gonna push it. They're gonna put it and melt it down into the ground because they are so afraid of what's gonna come out of my mouth. I get it. I actually get it. And I love it. I love it. I love it. And the reason why, because it exposes the business. It exposes the corruption. It exposes all the dirty, dark details that they don't want you to hear about. They don't even know what's gonna fly out of my mouth, but they're so scared. Here they come to try to hold the information down and keep you guys from hearing the video. It's remarkable. Now, here's the news. We need to have an understanding of what it is that we do versus what anyone else in the world might do. You understand? Now, this is going to come to people not as a shock to some, but let's talk about women in the industry. Okay? Hollywood, the land of opportunities and dreams, and it's propped up with bright lights, great gowns and dresses and men's and suits, and everybody's laughing and having a good time. All of it is lies. All of that is a lie. All of those people, all in those rooms know the problem. They know the secrets. They know the devilish things that are happening. And they continue to lie to themselves and act like it isn't happening. So every time you see these people interact, they're just acting 24 hours a day. They can't turn it off because they don't want to face that reality. And they all want to remain in the world that they're living in. Now, getting back to the center of the problem. The center of the problem It's something that no one expected. And the center of the problem was this. People have no cachet in the game. So when you have no cachet in the game, Eugene, how do you not recognize that woman? That 50-year-old plus woman on the thumbnail. How do you not know who that is? Now, with a thumbnail like that, you know what they chose to do? Submerge my video down to the bottom. Not to be found, not to be heard of, not to be seen. Because they don't want you to hear anything that I'm about to say. That's Holly Berry, Haley Berry, whatever name you want to call it. How could you not see or know that? Listen. You ever wonder why all of the actresses or actors that you've seen in the industry, how they just disappear into thin air, just vanish? Just gone in the dust. And you never hear anything else about them? You ever wonder that? Like, whatever happened to so-and-so? Why they're not here? Didn't the industry have this and that? Where'd they go? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Why is this different? Why am I not getting this done? What is the problem here? You see, when you're in the industry, the darker underbelly, there are certain levels of advancements. That happens to the best of them and the worst of them. For instance, do you even, well, most of you probably don't even remember actresses in the 80s, but during the end of the 80s era, there was coming to a beginning of an end of a process to make it in Hollywood, saying, I'm just gonna do my thing. Whatever they're doing in those rooms, they're doing. I don't have to be a part of that. It was okay. It was accepted. Now, what wasn't accepted is what I'm about to tell you now. As the 80s went by, and there weren't probably any female prominent actresses in Hollywood at said time, in the 1980s, in the 90s, people like Oprah Winfrey and everyone else started to complain to the Hollywood executives that black women aren't getting the opportunities as white women were starting to come up in the field of making movies, getting roles, while the black actresses were putting in the same amount of time but were refusing to be recognized and weren't being offered lead roles. whitewashing became a very big thing in Hollywood. And they would take less and less liberties to try to include African Americans, only in TV sitcom programming. Like if it's television sitcom, 4-episode miniseries, then they might include a lot of black activity. Eddie Murphy came and decided he wanted to help make that change. So when Oprah Winfrey was talking about what she was doing with her project and bringing it to Hollywood, as popular as Oprah was, everybody's gonna follow. Spike Lee couldn't understand why the actresses that he has in his movie weren't getting sought after in other projects. Steven Spielberg rejected 3 of them for his project and selected someone who was considered to be his niece, who had no experience for the roles. So Spielberg decided to take things to another level and decided, I can't have bad press or bad publicity, so I have to hire some black actors in my next film. I have to at least sponsor black projects because I don't want to be looked at for what I am. Now, the process continued to be a question. You didn't know there was a hearing done. In 1987, they had hearings about these affairs about African American women being neglected out of positions for movie roles. Black actors have to settle for, remedial roles, or they are for comic relief. And then they die early in films. And people saying they're just using blacks as their face. This thing actually went to mediation. They have like Hollywood court, where they go into arbitrations and mediations, where we're not going to plaster this all over the newspapers. We're going to bring it all in, and we're going to have these meetings behind doors. So one of the powerful lawyers, his name is Orem, and he was an old guy. Orem Brockham Makalika, so don't hold me to him. But Orem saw the play. And in there, their defense for the studios is that when they try to hire black actors, it's difficult because black actors come with a list of demands about the roles. And they didn't write the roles to be predicated around race. With blacks, wanted it to be about race. This is 1987. They're saying, when coming to hiring black women for roles, most and many are reluctant to have scenes with white men because they would lose face in their black community and their black fan base, would turn on them if they was to see them in a romantic lead with a white man. So this is why we eliminate that process, because we don't have time, the studio, or the money to go through this project or to hire people based on race. This is what the studio was saying in 1987. So, They said, give us a list of these actresses or actors that said they wouldn't do such things or did not want to do this. And the defense could not find one, saying that because of the privacy of these people, they say, well, then it's hearsay. What you're saying is just speculation. But you've exposed a bias already. So this was in 1987. So studios was feeling the pressure. Oprah Winfrey was spearheading it. So she decided she was going to put out her movies like she did with The Color Purple. Was a big hit and success. Whoopi Goldberg was starting to take off, right? So blacks start to be made an example of. They said, okay, they want black lead females in movies. Whoopi Goldberg, Jumpin' Jack Flash. Whoopi Goldberg is the lead in Burglar. Whoopi Goldberg, Fatal Beauty. The Whoopi Goldberg movies, before Sister Act, was all of these movies here. They chose Whoopi Goldberg. You know why? Because Whoopi Goldberg did coke, crack, crank, smoked weed, giving white guys blowjobs in bathrooms, doing lines with a bunch of them. They loved Whoopi Goldberg. So they were going to find one. They were going to find one like her. Her name was Goldberg. She named herself Goldberg. And they say, why'd you name yourself Goldberg? Because she's like, shit. That sounds Jewish enough as possible. That's the only way I can get in the comedy club. Whoopi Goldberg, let's sign Goldberg. Then by the time they see me on stage, it's too late. So, genius of an idea. Gave herself a Jewish name. Now, oh, Whoopi was a bad drug addict at that time. She had done so much blow, she was stuck in a closet, paranoid, in between scenes. They didn't know where the hell she was. They thought she left the set. She was in the closet, just stuck. My God. Coke all over her nose. Just gone, stuck in a closet. Well, she had a lot of inner demons. Black comedians made fun of her appearance. She was viewed as one of the ugliest black women on television for years, or in comedy period. Well, so she figured, well, no, black people don't like me, but white guys seem to like her. So racist white guys would just use her, do drugs with her, have sex with her, doing all kind of weird stuff with Whoopi Goldberg. This stuff was going on in Hollywood for years. And what they do, give her a movie. Now this gonna clear all the Hollywood rumors up about, hey, we don't give black people opportunities. So now, Eddie Murphy became a big star. Let's do another remake. We can make another one. We made Eddie Murphy for Beverly Hills Cop. We can grab any black guy and do that. A cop in Detroit. Super cop. We can find another black super cop. Eddie don't want to do Beverly Hills Cop 3? No problem. We got Action Jackson. Detroit super cop. With Carl Weathers from Apollo Creed. We got Apollo Creed to be rocking. Now look at that. He's way more physical than Eddie Murphy. And that's how the 80s was going. Now, because of Oprah's interference, every movie she put out after Color Purple bombed. She put out Beloved with her and Danny Glover. Bombed. Every movie she put out bombed. Bill Cosby, who backed her up, who attacked Hollywood and Robert De Niro for using Lisa Bonet in that movie Angel Heart, dealing with witchcraft and all that nonsense. Bill said this was awful, it was trash. And Hollywood came after Bill Cosby. Anytime Bill Cosby had a movie, Leonard Part 6 bombed. Movie was stupid too, by the way. Completely stupid. But bombed. Ghost Dad bombed. Anytime Bill was gonna make a motion picture, they were gonna make sure it bombed. So the 90s come and they realize black movies can actually make real money. We just got to get our guys in there. So Benny Medina came along and decided, hey, I need you for X, Y, and Z. It's a television show that I'm coming up with that I think you'll be perfect for. And he's like, this actor was like, I don't know. Now, Benny Medina is a Hollywood player, big Hollywood, black, Hispanic guy from Philadelphia. Who ended up getting in some trouble and started to stay with his rich uncle and auntie in a place called Bel Air, California. And it became, the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Will got the role. But his audition was not traditional at all. It's traditional for Hollywood when all the executives are sitting in one room and you have to do an audition for the role live. And he says, look, all the money in Hollywood that's gonna back you is sitting in there. Quincy Jones, all these other producers, they're sitting there. But all of these dudes are in a psyop. They have an understanding. This isn't a recruitment for a television show. This isn't an audition for that. You're not reading a script. They want to know how far you're going to go. This is an audition for the psyop that you're going to get involved in. But they're going to trust you and entrust you into this world that they live in. That's what the audition is about. It's not about the TV show. Will couldn't even act. In the first 2 seasons, he's mimicking everybody's words. He was just good at being Will Smith. Just be goofy. How hard is that? Nah, they wanted to see how far you were going to go in that audition process. And see, where Martin Lawrence said no, Will said yes. Now, do you remember Will Smith? He has to remember that Bad Boys was not originally his movie. It was written for two other people. Martin got the movie. And once Martin got the movie, he went and brought in Will Smith, not the other way around. Martin thought it'd be cool. He was like, two of the biggest black TV show stars with the weird ears doing a show together. We gonna be action style. We gonna be two cops. And he was like, we can make an action movie. And this was all built off the success of House Party. Yeah. You ain't know that, did you? House Party set the standards because House Party went from a hood movie, right, for black folk, to beating out white movies. And New Line Cinema produced this film, which was Harvey Weinstein and the Weinsteins, right? So they saw House Party come along and they made all this money. They're like, wait a minute, House Party, it's like people keep going back to see it again and again. The repeat value. So right away, they made no money to make the first House Party, Kid and Play. It was basically done for free. The second movie is how everybody got paid. Bigger budget, worse script, but big results. People showed up and showed out. So House Party 1, House Party 2, this is launching it into the stratosphere. And at this time, Martin Lawrence is coming up. So now, here comes the Martin TV show, right after right in the middle of Def Comedy Jam. Because he was like, man, I might have to give up the show. Because here he is, he gets Def Comedy Jam right on the back of House Party 2. Then he gets his movie Talking Dirty After Dark. Then there was a actress who was a slash comedian who was being sought out for a role in a Hollywood film. She goes there and she finds out the Hollywood film and the audition comes with an attachment. The scene she's supposed to be in, her character was supposed to be the best friend of this other like A-list, B-list Hollywood celebrity white lady. And this is supposed to be her best black friend, right? And then the best black friend and her was, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to be besties. This is going to be great, right? And she's so excited for her friend who becomes a stripper, right? A complete stripper in Hollywood. And her white friend goes into the stripping world and she ends up with this eccentric billionaire or whatever she's sleeping around with. And her best friend, who's the funny comedic girl, she takes her to a party where all these rich people are, designers, and one of the rich guys takes her in a room, beats her, and R-words her. That was added to the script. That she has to be like the only black person in the film, and she has to be beaten and R-worded. So when they added that to the script, after she agreed, they were gonna say, hey, breach of contract. You said you would be willing to do anything. The script got rewritten, reapproved, and you already said, she's like, but I didn't reapprove to this. And she's like, I'll fight y'all on that. So she pulled out of it. She told Martin about it. And the whole process. And Martin was like, who was the guy? I want to know who was the producers, who was the people. Because Martin's like, I never work with them ever again. And she was like, I'll just be broke doing stand-up. I ain't finna do that. They ain't finna have me getting beat up and all work. She was like, look at me. What I look like letting some man beat on me? I'd whoop a dude ass. So, in case you don't know what movie that is, the movie actually came out. And it bombed. What was that movie called? I'm gonna see if you guys paying attention. I'm gonna see if you guys could think about it. A movie came out about a girl who went into the stripping business. Right? Had a best black friend. No, but it was long before Players Club. If I'm saying talking dirty out the dog, she was in that movie and she was telling Martin when they was going on what was happening. Boomerang was never to do with any strippers, sir. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I guess I just realized you guys are probably younger than I thought. Girl 6, really? That's what you come up with? Gosh. How young are you guys? My goodness. Y'all really think Girl 6? Wow. I'm kind of disappointed and shocked a little bit. You're 49 and you don't know this movie? Let me give you the rundown of the script again. White girl goes and becomes a stripper, dancer, whatever you want to call it. Goes through that whole world. Has a black female friend, best friend. Still kept that premise together. Close. Somebody said striptease. Close. But no, it's not striptease. I don't remember Demi Moore having a best black friend in the movie. I'm really stunned at this. Not one of you have, this is a shock. Yeah, I'll stop biting my answers. Yes, especially when they're wrong. What I remember what best black friend that was female that she had in there. Her best friend in striptease was Vin Rames, her bodyguard, who was black. Mm. Oh, really? I want to see y'all brains work. Somebody said I give up. Oh my God. Let me pull it up for you. Here we go. Y'all ready? Showgirls, 1995. Showgirls. Remember her from Saved by the Bell? It's all right. He said, I said Showgirls. I don't see Showgirls. Oh, somebody did say the movie with the girl from Saved by the Bell. There she go. Zeno, Saved by the Bell. Showgirl. Now, if you've seen that movie, the black girl in there gets beaten up, and they blamed Elizabeth Berkley for her performance in the role and ruined her. Robert DeVee, who's a good friend of mine, he's a musician, and my uncle's a musician. I was able to meet Robert DeVee. I knew him from Goonies. That's why him always singing in the movies was key, because he always sings and brings his friends out. But it talked about the dirty life of the showgirl industry. And the year later, they came out with the movie y'all was talking about, Striptease. That was in 95. This one was in 96. And they made it a comedy to try to make it entertaining to people, and use Demi Moore, who got a boob job, started working out on her body to get herself in shape for this. But these kind of movies usually don't make money because women don't want to normally see these type of films. And you didn't see another movie like it until 2019, Hustlers. Now, let's talk about how the process usually goes, because it's a much darker industry than what people would know. But back to what I was telling you guys, the black girl who they wanted to play the role, who they got to play the role, was a comedian. And she was going to be in that movie, Showgirls. So she was very excited about it. Like, oh, I got this big movie coming. She was so thrilled, right? Who wouldn't be excited? You got a big movie coming. So what ended up transpiring behind those facts, right? What ended up becoming the determining factor to overweigh everything that they were doing? Mm. Why would they do that? Do you understand what the process is? The process of the game is to not let you possess any type or any form of communication, wherewithal, what have you, right? Mm. Oh no, things are fit to get more crazy. Most of y'all don't remember the movie Talking Dirty After Dark. That was released in 1991. So when she was doing this movie, she was telling them about a movie they wanted her to play in Hollywood. It came out 3, 4 years later with another black woman to play that role in the movie that we know now as Showgirls. But Martin Lawrence's first big movie after House Party 2 was Talking Dirty After Dark when he was doing his stand-up routine. And one of his buddies was the producers. All these other comics were in there. Yeah, so before there was Friday, you had Talking Dirty After Dark, which was the precursor to Friday. John Witherspoon, Debo, yeah, it was based on Martin Lawrence trying to make his break in comedy. And basically, it was the Jamie Foxx story. Oh yeah, Ronaldo Ray was he was one of the best natural comics um, there was at the time. Chino Williams. Ronaldo Ray. Mm-hmm. Oh, we don't have a lot more to discuss on this on the Patreon. Well, I could drop names, you know. Oh, Martin Lawrence will always have my support. Martin Lawrence said no. Martin Lawrence said no and still made it. Oh yeah, they tried to take Martin out. Yeah, Martin knew. That was no mistake. They look, Hollywood know all your secrets. Okay. Martin was doing a lot of drugs to keep himself up, keep him moving, keep him performing. He's doing the Martin TV show. He was doing Def Comedy Jam. He was doing movies now. And then he did A Thin Line Between Love and Hate and almost killed himself making that movie. We're talking 3 hours sleep, 1 hour of sleep. He was the writer, director, and star of the movie. Eddie Murphy. Eddie would tell you in a heartbeat, no. Yep. He hired Bobby Brown against the studio's choice. That's mean he was the boss. Martin chose Bobby Brown. Why did Martin change? No, and went his way. Hmm? Think about it. Martin Lawrence filmography. Why did Martin say no? Why did they try to take Martin out? Because Martin was taken to that party and did not like it. Y'all didn't know. Martin had just got married. Okay? And the woman he married ended up marrying Will Smith, but he was dating the girl from Saved by the Bell, Lark Voorhees. Right? And Lark was up for, she was doing soap opera at the time. She was getting ready to do her, breakthrough, and she started dating Martin. And this was her first real major relationship. And Martin wanted to keep her in the background. Didn't want nobody to know because he didn't want nobody to mess with her. So, mm, okay. Boomerang was later. That was that was his that was Eddie Murphy really giving him a nod because Martin was blowing up. See, Kid and Play fame was going down. He blew up in the movie with Kid and Play, but the fame was going down. Mm. Well, David Allen Greer was considered the funniest man on television, but they couldn't find a movie that would fit him in Hollywood. So, as funny as he was, they would not give a chance with any comedy movies, even with the success of Boomerang with him playing Gerard. Eddie chose these guys because he said these are the funniest guys on television. He didn't choose Will Smith. He chose Martin Lawrence and he chose David Allen Greer. Eddie selected them personally because he said these are the funniest dudes on television. Not Jim Carrey. When they tried to make Jim Carrey the funniest guy, he said no, Martin and him, not Will Smith. Eddie saw it. Eddie said, these are people that get it. He was like, I don't know if David Allen Greer ever did stand up, but he remembered David Allen Greer longer than he remembered Martin Lawrence. David Allen Greer comes from Robert Townsend in California. They met Eddie, Keenan Ivory Wayans doing the Raw days. Y'all don't remember the Dexter Widow and all that stuff they used to do. See, that's the 80s. David Allen Greer goes back that far. He didn't know of Martin really until the later years, like television and watching Martin blow up and starting to rise. Eddie wanted to get that energy because he's like, man, everybody on TV and everybody be talking about this dude Martin. Arsenio is different. Eddie knows he can't make a lot of movies with Arsenio. Arsenio is very introvert, very much introverted. Like Eddie said, I've never been to Arsenio's house, maybe once that I could recall, but he's like Arsenio don't like going outside. Like he really likes staying in the house. So right after Boomerang, Martin did You So Crazy. He started doing You So Crazy, the concert tour. And the tour wasn't selling because the movie was out and he's using the same jokes. So they was like, dude, they canceled the Chicago tour. They was like, dude, you saying the same jokes that's in the movie. So now that's how he was blowing up though, because You So Crazy did did well in the theaters and everything. The TV show was blowing up. Everything's Martin, Martin, Martin. That's how he got Bad Boys. He was bigger than Will Smith. Will Smith had no real identity. He came out with a movie with Whoopi Goldberg called Made in America with Ted Danson. That was his, and then his 6 Degrees of Separation. He was going away from black audiences. He played a gay dude right after that. So he had no identity with the black folks in the movie industry, film industry. It was Martin Lawrence that said, come do Bad Boys with me. That's going to get you out here. And they wanted to try to use Will Smith to reel in Martin Lawrence. Martin had just gotten married. Will is married. And while they're doing the movie, right, down in Miami, they filming Bad Boys. Prince got a club down there called Glam Slam. Now, this is going to be on my Patreon. So I'm going to give you a little bit of it. I ain't going to tell you the whole story. But Martin had just gotten married recently, you know, and they doing Bad Boys. And he's like, you know, look, this is what it is. Martin goes ahead and he grabs Will Smith, right? And tells Will this is what he wants. Uptown Comedy Club. Well, no, he had Glam Slam, and Prince is like got this thing, and Will Smith want to go because these executives want Will to bring out these individuals. So he tells Will, like, you know, bring these guys out here. You know, this would be great. Bring them out. 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 So they bring Martin out. Martin don't want to go out with Will because Will go out and do all kind of goofy stuff back then. He didn't want to do that. And they go up there and then they meet Prince, and then I'll talk about that on the Patreon so you can hear the conversation that happened when they met Prince, all of it. Anyway, they end up in the top, you know, balcony area where all the like celebrities would go. And they're sitting there like listening to it. Next thing you know, is some wild looking chick comes up, sticks her ass in Martin's face, and it was like start wiggling it in front of Martin. And Martin was like, see, that's why I don't go places with you, man. That's why I don't go places with you. This is why I don't go places with you, man. Told you I don't want to come outside. It's exactly why. Martin was trying to avoid any type of controversy, you know, that he could do at the same time. Mm. No, Bad Boys changed everything. Bad Boys changed everything for him. But he went left. Martin turned around and left because he was a free agent. He didn't have no deal. He came and took the movie over. And then he used his own money, TV show, fame, all of it. Martin walked away. They tried to snake in, use Will to get Martin to sign this major deal. It's like, hey, they got um, what's that? Brockenheimer, Jerry Brockenheimer, all these guys in there in the room. They got Will Smith. They got all these people there, and they're getting ready to. And Will's like, hey, man, we're going to do this movie deal. Dude, we're going to make like, I'm telling you, like $50 million, dog. We're going to be making so much big money. I'm talking massive amount of money, dude. 50 million and within the next 2 years. 50. 2 years, 50 million, guaranteed. At a minimum. And he was like, that's just the beginning. We finna usher in a whole new wave of black comedy, man, and black movies and films and directors. And he was like, yeah. Martin told Will, we getting 50 in 2 years? Yeah. What they getting? He was Martin. Dog, like, what are you doing? Like, we got this movie on the table. It's about an alien invasion. No, we in the military. Me and you. We in the military. Me in the military? Ain't nobody buying that. He was like, man, this got all the big stars. This is like a major motion picture. We talking like Star Wars type. It's gonna be like the new Star Wars. Ah, man. Who was Star Wars? He was like, who was in Star Wars? Who played Darth Vader? This is what Martin Lawrence tells Will Smith. Who played Darth Vader? James Earl Jones. He was like, right. James Earl Jones, legend. Right? Billy D. Williams, Lando Calrissian. So you saying Darth Vader and Lando Calrissian is finna save the world? Then who the hell is Luke Skywalker? They gonna have to have a Luke Skywalker in this motherfucker. They are not finna let two black men lead a Star Wars movie. And he's like, okay, let's think about this, Will. Who's making the money? Look at Star Wars. Do they say Star Wars, George Lucas. George Lucas made more money than all of them combined. And they're the characters. Everybody broke in Star Wars. He was like, I saw Luke Skywalker at the thrift shop. Princess Leia's on crack, and Han Solo is with a whip. He's like, Han Solo got a whip and a little boy running around. He's like, what the hell are you talking about? Martin was funny. Martin was like, Han Solo got a whip, a pistol, and a little boy, and they running around. But Martin brought up a very key point. The only person to get paid was George Lucas. Now, when he told Will that and said, I want to see a pre-draft of it. And they told Will, we don't need him. They said that. We don't need Martin. But he won't do another film. So when he came up with the idea for a Thin Line Between Love and Hate, he said, hey, I need a distribution studio. They turned their back on him like he was crazy. And they said, nope. So could nobody back him? So what did Martin Lawrence do? He made the movie himself. He brought Bobby Brown in and brought in Regina King as his love interest. And it drove him almost insane. He made that movie. It became a hit for him. And as he went back to work and the Thin Line came out and all the black audiences went out and they raved the movie and the range Martin Lawrence had. And Independence Day come out, boom, through the roof. So Martin's got the new deal on the table, and they talking about doing Bad Boys 2. And this was the end of 96, like Independence Day take off. And Will at this time, can't work with Martin because of him turning down Independence Day. And it ended up being Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith. So all of this was going on about Bad Boys 2. They wanted the studios really to put up all the money. Martin agreed to do it, but without Will Smith, they don't want to do it. Because now Will is the giant. He's box office now. And Martin comes out with the movie with Tim Robbins called Nothing to Lose. He liked the script, wanted to go in there and do that role. Where he became the dude from the streets, teaming up with a white guy. So they said this would be cool for his deal that he had. He had this new fly, and he really was ushering in Dave Chappelle to be Dave Chappelle. And Martin could do his characters as he played the jewel thief. And then him and Eddie worked again in the movie Life. That was the last film my friend saw too before he died. And then they tried to take Martin out. After Life with Eddie Murphy, Hollywood realized we got something real big here with Martin Lawrence. Martin now understands the game. We need Martin Lawrence. Now, Bad Boys was in 1995. Bad Boys 2 ain't happening. Will Smith is the biggest thing in Hollywood now. He getting $20 million a film. Martin Lawrence is signing a major deal now because of Eddie Murphy. Eddie then walked Martin into the big boy table and said, hey, you hot right now. Hey, you just got me back hot with Life. Life kind of brought people back to Eddie Murphy, who had kind of walked away from his movies and was like, man, white America was giving up on Eddie Murphy, trying to make him a relic and throw him away when he still had a lot to offer. And they was dealing with racism on the set, and Eddie was dealing with that with the white folks on the set. So, and he watched how Eddie was handling that and was like, man, okay. It was a whole different person than when they filmed Boomerang. So now Here comes a major motion picture deal. Martin Lawrence finna get $150 million. Right? All these movies coming out that Hollywood's got these scripts for, they just want him to act in them. And he can have some say. And for the money, Martin was like, bet. Let's go on ahead and get it. Let's get this money. So he had to go on and lose the weight because Martin had gained weight. He was big. And that's why he was trying to run and get in shape for these movie roles. He started having episodes, where he passed out. He was trying to film, get ready for Big Mama's house. And that was the first movie in his big deal, and he passed out on the street. Had like 4 heart attacks. Then he did a movie nobody saw. Said, what the worst that could happen with Danny DeVito. They put him in a Danny DeVito movie that nobody saw where he played a burglar. And they was like, why would he do that? So he can get the money to make his own movie. And that's what it was about. Martin wanted independence all the time. So they financed this movie. It was part of the deal to do that movie. What's the worst thing that could happen? He was like, okay, I will play a black criminal for you. But I got to play in my own movie that I wrote called Black Knight. People call it one of the worst Martin Lawrence movies ever. I say it's one of the funniest. Black Knight is hilarious. Hey. Yeah, man, we're going to talk about the Corey thing in a minute. I saw that, and we're going to go into that. Black Knight. It was a fun movie where Martin could be Martin and do what he want to do, right? And it just went downhill. Didn't do well at the box office. I thought it was funny. Then he comes out and does another movie they want him to do, National Security. It's a comedy. And then at that point, Will Smith's career started to taper down. Right? So he needed something to pull himself back up. And they finally get to do Bad Boys 2. Almost 10 years later. Martin is struggling with a lot of stuff going on at the time. So he put together another project where he's the head coach of a basketball team. You got to get these little kids together called Rebound. That was his daddy daycare type thing at the Bad Boys 2. Then here come another big budget movie, Big Mama's House 2. That's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. And Martin getting his bag. Then he got Wild Hogs, y'all movie. Putting him with Tichina Arnold as his wife. Then my favorite, Roscoe Jenkins with James Earl Jones. I don't remember College Road Trip, but that was his Disney deal where he was going on a college road trip or something with his daughter or something. Then Chris Rock, Martin came to help Chris Rock out with Death of a Funeral. He volunteered to do that for Chris. Chris Rock was always trying to be like, get into the movie roles and film. So to help another black comedian out, he did it. Then the third one in 2011, The Big Mama's House, that was supposed to be Cat Williams and Martin Lawrence, and that ended up going to Brandon Jackson. Yep, at the Big Mama's House 3, like father, like son, that was the end of it. Martin snapped. Things was out of control for him. And for the last 8 years, he was in obscurity. He was just tired of Hollywood and doing these roles that they were trying to put him in. And he was being forgotten about, and will he do comedy again? Will he not? And he showed up in Matthew McConaughey's movie, The Beach Bum, 8 years later in a cameo role. Something real small. I saw The Beach Bum, but most people didn't. And it was just really Matthew McConaughey smoking weed all day. And that was just the precursor for them to come out with Bad Boys for Life. And that was a hit. The Return of Bad Boy. It saved Will Smith's career. It brought Martin back. The black folks was back. Everybody was in love with what was going on. And it got Martin back into acting. Something he wasn't doing for a while. So he did a horror thing with called Mind Cage. I don't know if you remember that. A lot of people didn't see it and get major distribution, but they just wanted to put him in another Bad Boys movie. Where Martin ended up having a mini stroke. Yeah, and they're talking about doing one more. Hmm, pretty much. But think of it like this. If you start saying to yourself, why would people take this avenue? Why would they take this road? It's so that they can become bigger and better at something that they're doing or that they want to do, especially in like Hollywood. Nobody was getting that kind of money back then, dog. In the 90s, you weren't getting that kind of money. They weren't putting up those type of budgets for movies. You know, your black films were getting maybe $1 million, $2 million budgets. You know, Eddie getting a $40 million budget for Boomerang, and it made $130 million box office, and they call it a failure. It's like critically stupid, right? Oh, the rewrites to the script was made Bad Boy work. They had to keep working with that. Martin Lawrence put like pretty much all his money into A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. It took $8 million to make that movie. And the box office did not give it the distribution it deserved because they didn't want Martin Lawrence to have success doing it. Yeah, he spent 8 million out of his own money to profit 2 million, plus on the back end, he would make money off a Thin Line Between Love and Hate, and it basically it didn't bankrupt him, but it put him behind the eight ball. He bet on himself, and Hollywood stifled the bet. Um, Nothing to Lose was one of the movies that you're talking about. That had a what was it, 6 million? He probably got for that one, and his way back. Yeah, so pretty much that. So the standards have changed, meaning that everybody's standards, when you start to see the movies and how the big money was going to start coming about, yeah, well, think about all the things that you love about Hollywood and the things you don't like about it. So all of these success for black men, where were the black Hollywood stars in the 80s and 90s? They didn't exist. Those people would normally have to commit to something. No. The biggest money they've ever made, I believe, was Bad Boys. That made almost 500 million at box office. Everybody went and saw Bad Boys. And Ride or Die did about the same success. Close to it, just a little under what the last Bad Boys film didn't do. Yeah. Now, that was back in the 80s. And we went through the games Hollywood play because they don't like us to have independence. So now that we know that, what else don't we know? Hmm? Oh, I gotta hook this up. Okay, that one cool. Again, this isn't working the way it's supposed to. Hold on. All right. Come on. Oh, that should do it. I don't see a short in the hose. Is there a hole in the line? Oh, there it is. That's the blockage. There we go. There she blows. Yeah, the mystery of the water hose solved. See why I don't do lawn and gardening and all that crap. Now, whew. Chris Tucker first role was him like near him like being himself. Never had a role where he can be himself. It's not true. That's why he had first a thin line between love and hate. Thin line was him being himself. Dramatic roles. In Boomerang, he had a chance to be himself. But there's a reason and a process behind all of this. Now on the Patreon, we're going to really get into it deeper than what you can imagine, because the game now is at an all-time low. There's like no money in Hollywood for these people. And the ones who are getting the money aren't the ones that should be getting the money. That was 2008 when Terrence Howard got screwed over for Robert Downey Jr. by the guy he brought into the film. Picture that. Robert Downey Jr. was the guy that was toxic, that the studios didn't want to trust because of his past drug history. He was bad for Hollywood. After Iron Man, oh, he's a god. We could put him in anything. He was so great in Iron Man, which he was. But Terrence Howard made that happen. It was Robert Downey's wife who he was friends with. Terrence Howard was friends with Robert's wife. And she asked Terrence Howard, he asked if Robert could audition for the role. And then when it's time for the money to be paid for the second film, they wanted to give all the money to Robert Downey Jr., cut Terrence Howard out the movie, and bring in Don Cheadle to replace him. That was a studio decision, which is one of the reasons Jon Favreau eventually left Marvel altogether. They ruined Iron Man 2 for him, took his movie and turned it into crap. Iron Man 2 is one of the biggest disappointments of a sequel I've seen in a very long time. The movie was on point to really being something, and it turned out to be a sideshow. I think Iron Man 2, on the surface, had the potential of showing the real relationship with Tony and his father way better than Civil War explained it or the other previous movies did. Same company, New Line Cinema, was very popular. They took an actress, put her on a boat, and got her there with a celebrity that had been chasing her behind her for a long time. Could never get her until he got her on a boat. There's nowhere she can go on that boat. So once they just all miraculously ended up on a cruise, things started to happen. So on the cruise, here it is. You got 15 different women coming around making the same accusations about the same individuals. Why? Nothing ever became of it. Now they've been doing that tactic for years. Well, certain liberties were given to certain privileged people in position. One girl got fired for chuckling at a nude scene in a movie when the actor got nude, and she chuckled. So she was terminated from her position. She wrote a book talking about her life stories as a, what she called a production assistant, working with Silver Screen, or I believe Silver Screen Entertainment. And she detailed a lot of dark secrets in her expose. She's passing her her manuscript to get published, and the company decided to buy her book, pay her a lot of money for the book, and the book is shelved. Book is never coming out. So she can't go and start talking. She signed exclusive rights to this company, and they never released her book. And that book is never coming out. Now, that book named a lot of people that they had to take out. One of the people was Joel Schumacher. Joel Schumacher was in this book a lot. His rude behavior, his eccentricness, all the things that he did. Michael Bay, his name was involved in a lot of the things that happened here. Britton Meyer, his name was mentioned in a lot of this stuff. These are names that some of you might know, some of you might not know. But again, that lady eventually died in a, what was it, a car crash or some type of overdose, some type of heart attack. Some might have been related to her substance abuse that happened, or the way she was terminated, because she just accidentally chuckled a little bit. And she was like, I wasn't laughing at the individual being nude. But she's like, I get that's unprofessional, but I wasn't laughing at the man being nude. I was just laughing, at his private parts. I was just laughing like, oh my God, it's a nude man, like she had no clue that she was gonna walk in the room and see a nude man. So she just nervously chuckled. And she was terminated. The actor said he felt humiliated. And they say, don't worry, you'll never have to see that person again. She's got it. So she was terminated. Now, here's where it's going to get interesting, baby. Some of these people in the industry in today's time, they tell you how hard it is to make it in this business. And the reason that Halle Berry is, we're 1 hour and 48 minutes into the live, and now I'm finna tell you why Halle Berry is the thumbnail. Because she was the only actor in the 90s and 2000s that was female, that was considered black, that had real cachet in Hollywood. And you know why? Because of what I told you in the beginning. To make it in Hollywood, you were gonna have to sleep with white men if you were black. Not just act, you're gonna have to sleep them. That's it. White men have to know that they can have you. They have to have that belief. You being married and all of this kind of kills the career. So it became more exhilarating for them to know the fact that they had that control. They had that dynamic of power over said situation. You had to give it up. Now, I'm quite sure when she retires, Angela Bassett will tell you what happened to her. How when she was getting ready to have the apex crux of her success, after doing Waiting to Exhale, she was on her way. But to expand her, she listened to these people and let them guide her and scare her into doing a movie with goddamn Voldemort called Strange Days. A movie that they have shelved that movie. They don't even want it out there. This was supposed to bring international appeal to Angela Bassett. And it was a good movie. I like Strange Days. With Ralph in it. Or Fence, or whatever you pronounce his last name. Goddamn Voldemort. Well, this has been the problem for a long time. And because it's the problem, it's never being dealt with properly. Never. Now, when we go about doing what's best for us as a people, we're not there to protect the ones that need to be protected. And now black women have to sleep with white men in order to get put on in Hollywood. White men have to know that they're accessible. We're going to go into this a little deeper, and I'm going to give you guys all the back stuff that you need to fill in the blanks on the Patreon, my Carsano for Life Patreon. So definitely we will go into that part of the elements. But why do you think Teyana Taylor got a divorce? And why do you think Teyana Taylor ended up, as soon as she got a divorce, she's in movies with Leonardo DiCaprio. She's with movies that Rock Nation is financing, putting her in prominent roles. They whore these women out. Put them in position. But to get black women in general okay with this process, this goes against what they do. They strip them down. They send them to this basically PSYOP school where they were brainwashed, like Scientology. And they brainwashed them. Scientology had nothing to do with black people to begin. No. It had nothing to do with women. It's about male superiority. What the male says goes, and you'll be rich, you'll be taken care of. No one will ever fall in this psyop. We all care about everyone else in this circle. Finding the right ones, bring them in. We'll control all the money. You never have to worry about taxes and bills or going to jail. Well, that changed. Well, Matheson thought that he misread the rules and thought that meant it gave him a free rein to go out and, just go on a stroll of decimating just completely decimating lands. Now, I never understood why, but a lot of people talking about Diddy broke. Is he? Do you see Diddy? Does he look broke to you? He's making more money now in jail than he's ever had before. All right. I don't know what that was about. Whew. They kicked everybody out of here. We were saying too much. Nah, that wasn't a signal, bro. That was a different type of signal. They're listening. We saying too much. They listening to what's going on, bro, for real. Hollywood is, hey, they got their people listening in hard on this one. Wow. Okay, I get it. I see what y'all doing. Listen. Society has their rules. They have their tools set to the way they like it. And we'll have to continue this on the Patreon because I see they're gonna shut it all down. So yeah, see y'all on the Casino for Life Patreon. Well, we'll fill in all your blanks. See, they're listening way too hard, and they know I know what I'm talking about. So they did not want me to continue down this road. So see y'all on the Patreon.